This in mind, this in mind, what we're going to do is we're going to write down and we're going to solve this. So can everybody call me out those two equations again? They're question 3 part 1. What's the two equations? Okay, so f of x equals, so f of x equals x plus 3. This equation, this is called a linear equation because it represents a line, okay? This one's called the linear equation. And then the second one is g of x equals, yeah, usually. Okay, so usually we may solve quadratic equations using the reference number, okay? So can somebody call out g of x, please? X squared minus 2x minus 7, okay? Now, what's going to happen here is the following, lads, okay? What we have to find out is, as discussed before, one of them's a line and one of them's a curve, okay? So one of them's going to be represented by a curve and the other one is going to be represented by a line. And what's going to happen is we need to find these two intersection points, okay? So what happens is the y values, this basically means y, the y value of the curve, and this one means the y value of the line. So when they intersect, line must equal the curve, okay? So this means that x plus 3 must equal x squared minus 2x minus 7. Now, you're going to be asked to solve it using 3 different ways, okay? You have your phone, please? Okay. Now, what we have here is we'll have 3 different ways. You'll either be left with a minus b formula. You'll either have to do the minus b formula. You'll have to do the reference number. Or you'll have to factorize. Okay? So you don't know which one it's going to be until you get there. But what I do know is, see the way there's 2 different answers, lads? Yeah? This means, more than likely, I'm getting a quadratic equation. So when you have 2 different answers, you'll get a quadratic equation. So let's find out what happens here. Bring everything over one side. Bring everything over one side. And 0 is going to be equal to x squared minus 2x minus x minus 3 minus 7. Then what we're going to get is x squared minus 3x minus 10. Okay? What I'm going to write here is I'll always say switch or spin. Switch or spin basically means just flip it around. So then we say x squared minus 3x minus 10 equals 0. I'm having a quick look at it. I think the reference number will work for this. Okay? So the reference number is minus 10, and as Jack said, he just went straight into it and he said, you know what, this is going to be minus 5 and plus 2. We'll do the extra step as we always do, just to make sure that we get it. So King, can you factorize this for me?
X squared minus 3x minus
10. X into what? Yeah. Minus 5. Second one has to be there. Same. Then we're going to be left with x plus 2 into x minus 5 equals 0. And then finally the answer is going to be x plus 2 equals 0. X equals minus 2. X minus 5 equals 0. Bring it over. X equals 5. Now, what most people think when they do this is they actually have the whole question complete. But they're actually wrong. Because what we need to do is we need to find out points. When you want to find out points, you actually have an x and a y value for each one. So we already have the x values. Now we need the y values, okay? So to get this, we'd always use the linear. The linear is the better one. Once you have one value, use the linear equation to find the second value, okay? So what we're going to get is y equals x plus 3. So what we can do here is we'll insert the x value in. We'll insert the x value in, and we'll see what comes up. Okay, so the x value is minus 2. So y equals minus 2 plus 3, therefore y equals 1. One answer is minus 2 and 1. When x is minus 2, y equals 1. The next answer is going to be 5. So what we're going to do is we're going to say y equals x is 5. This x here is 5 plus 3, y equals 8. Therefore the second answer is 5, 8. Now we can actually look back at the question and see if it's in the right area. Okay, so minus 2, 1 and 5, 8. So just write this down here. Minus 2, 1, 5 and 8. And what we can see is, does the diagram actually match our answer? Okay, view transparent background. I know, yeah. Okay, minus 5, so 5, 8 is going to be this one, yeah? And minus 2, 1 is going to be this one here, okay? Now, okay, x minus 2y equals 0. X squared plus y squared equals 20. Now, the first thing you need to do, Gavin, you just put that seat down and then just look forward, okay? The first thing we need to do is we need to solve the linear equation, okay? And this one here, which one's the linear and which one's the quadratic? That one's the linear, and this one here is the quadratic. We know if it's quadratic because it'll have either x squared or y squared in it, or it will have xy multiplied by each other. So you can clearly see that this one has x squared and y squared, which makes it the quadratic. The linear will never have x squared, y squared, and it'll never have x and y multiplied together like this. So we've identified that this is the linear and this is the quadratic. Step 1 is to solve the linear. We have two options. We can move the 2y over the other side, and this is the most important part I'm going to tell you about this. We could have x equals 2y, or we could have y equals x over 2. There's a choice here. I always choose the one that has no fractions in it. You'll more than likely always get a choice. Choose the one that doesn't use fractions, because it makes your job a lot easier. Once you choose this, what we're going to do is we're going to substitute this into the quadratic, which means we're going to, anywhere we see x, we now put 2y. So we're going to rewrite the quadratic equation like this. It was x squared, now it's going to be 2y squared. Now it's going to be plus y squared here, and this equals 20. Square 2y, and we're going to get 2y, 4y squared. This is basically 2y by 2y. Multiply the numbers by each other, and you get 4. Put the letters beside you get 4y, which means this is 4y squared, for anybody who doesn't know. Add it on, and you get y squared equals 20. Now you're at the stage where you get 5y squared equals 20. What we need to do is need to divide by 5 because we want to get y on its own. So what's going to happen here is y squared is going to be equal to 4. Now what most people will make the mistake of doing is most people will make the mistake of assuming that there's only one answer to this equation. Most people will write down the square root of 4 and they'll write down their answer as 2. Can anybody tell me what is the missing answer? Okay. Now, most people forget that minus 2 is also another answer, okay? So 2 by minus 2. Now that you have this answer, we now have to figure out what the x values are. And the x values you get by subbing these back into the linear equation. If we go back to the top, the linear equation is x minus 2y. So x minus 2y equals 0. X equals 2y. Yes. And this means that x equals one of two combinations. X is equal to 2 times 2. X will be equal to 4. So when y is 2, x is 4. That's one set of answers there. The next set is when when y equals minus 2, x is going to be equal to minus 4. So the second set of answers is going to be y equals minus 2, x equals minus 4. And that's the end of that question.